Hey VC, it's Ron. Thanks for stopping by. Well, I got a special treat for all you Neil Young fans. I'm going to show my 45 RPM singles collection. And it's stuff I collected. I think I sort of started collecting this stuff, say, around the late 80s. And throughout the entire 90s is when I collected most of this stuff. And I've never really collected Neil Young off the internet. Everything I've got, I pretty much got it out in the wild. So I'm pretty proud of that. That's really what my whole entire record collection is based on. Getting stuff in person. I have a lot of pride in that. I did it the old-fashioned way, and I think it's the most satisfying way. Anybody can click a mouse. So I'm going to show my 45s that I have, and probably over the last 12 years I've kind of not been into them as much as I used to. So I had to really go in and refresh my memory a little bit on some of this stuff, but I'm going to do my best, and let's take a look. Alright, it's time to get going with my Neil Young 45 RPM 7-inch record collection. And before we get going on those, I want to show you the CD that we're going to be listening to, and it's Neil Young and Crazy Horse, The Violent Side. And it was recorded live at the Catalyst Club in Santa Cruz, California, February 6, 1984. And this was just a really brief tour that they did. They only did 4 nights, and they did 2 sets per night. They played to a total of 2,000 people at $5 a head. And this was kind of just a thing that it was like a spur-of-the-moment thing. They'd been in the studio trying to get together maybe a record or something that never really materialized. And before this, they had been, Neil had been on his trans tour, and then he did a solo thing, and then he did this, and then right after this he started the International Harvesters Country Project. So for this, they just got out there and did some gritty rock and roll, and it's got some pretty rare songs here. Rock Forever, which is actually Rock, Rock, Rock. So Tired of Talking to Strangers, which is actually So Tired. Now those 2 songs never got out. They may have been released on the archive box set. I don't know about that. I never bought that. Then it's got The Violent Side and I Got a Problem, which would be released 2 years later on the Landing on Water album. So these are very early versions of those songs. And then Your Love Is Good to Me, which is unreleased also. And then he brought back Barstool Blues, which he hadn't done in about 8 years. And then another newer one that would be coming up would be Touch the Night. And then he just did the older standard stuff. So excellent soundboard. The vocals are mixed kind of high, but it's just a raw soundboard, and a really cool thing to have. So let me get this turned on. And this first 45 is my earliest Neil Young. And it's Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. It's a white label promo. And yeah, the very earliest Neil Young 45s, they are rarer than hen's teeth as far as stock copies. Pretty much whenever you see this thing, it's going to be a promo. And this is from March of 1969, and it's a second pressing. And the reason it's a second pressing, it's the album version mono mix. When this was first released, it was released as a solo acoustic version, which I think was a mistake. So they withdrew it and they replaced it with the album version that would appear on Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. And then this is Oh Lonesome Me in February 9th, 1970. These are 45 mono mixes that are quite different from the album. And so another one that's tough to find as a stock pressing. This one is a Cinnamon Girl, and the same thing with this. 45 RPM mono mixes that are quite different from the album. April 70. And this has the second appearance of Sugar Mountain. It first appeared on Neil's first single, The Loner. And Sugar Mountain would go on to be released through a total of 6 Neil Young singles as the B-sides. Cinnamon Girl, quite different. The vocals are mixed higher. You can really hear Danny Wetton's vocals on this single version of the song. And very cool. And I happen to have a stock copy of it. Only Love Can Break Your Heart from October of 1970, and it has the alternate version of Birds on the B-side, which is actually an outtake from the first Neil Young solo album. And I think it got out by mistake. This is a full band version, whereas the version that's on the album, the After the Gold Rush album, it's just Neil and piano. So that's a really cool thing to have. And then I got, now I'm showing these in the order that they were released. So here's a Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Ohio, Find the Cross to Freedom with the Picture Slave from June of 70. And these are mono mixes. And Ohio is single only. And actually I think both tracks are single only. Then Ohio would be released later on the Best of CSNY in a true stereo form. And then this is just a different pressing of it from a different pressing plant. And then When You Dance, I Can Really Love from March of 71. Another appearance of Sugar Mountain. Special release, Harvest, Neil Young, 5-song EP. I think this was meant for jukeboxes. I'm not sure. I think it was. And I don't know if it was sold to the public in general, but it may have been. But it did have a picture slave. This is a 45 only Neil Young and Graham Nash War Song, which is a Neil Young song. Released June of 1972. And Neil and the Damage Done is on the flip. And this did not come with the picture sleeves. Kind of surprising about that. But I think promo copies did come with some sort of a insert. Here's a white label promo of Time Fades Away from the Time Fades Away album. And it's got the non-album live track, Last Trip to Tulsa on the B-side. And this is from November of 1973. And then here's the stock copy of it with the jukebox strip there. November of 73. Okay, here's the Stills Young Band, Long May You Run. Another Neil Young song. And 12 and 8th Blues, All the Same. And this is from August of 1976. Neil Young, Crazy Horse and the Bullets. Hey Babe from the Stars and Bars LP, June of 1977. and Homegrown on the other side. Another appearance of Sugar Mountain. There's a mono mix of it. This is a promo only release. It has mono and stereo versions of Sugar Mountain. And this come out in November of 1977. Neil Young, Comes a Time, U.S. Picture Slave. And there's the single with Motorcycle Mama. That's about his current wife at the time, Peggy. And this is from November of 78. Four Strong Winds. And that was an Ian and Sylvia song that was important to Neil in his younger coffee house days. He used to like that song a lot, and he ended up doing it. From the Comes a Time album, Human Highway, the flip, and that's from June of 79. Rust Never Sleeps, U.S. Picture Slave, and September of 1979. Here is Neil Young, Hawks and Doves, back with Union Man, September of 1980, and this is a promo copy in mono. Here's Southern Pacific from his Reactor album in mono. And Motor City and stereo on the flip side. And this is from December of 1981. Now that was released with a triangle single. In fact, let me get it. It's right here. I forgot to bring it out. Yeah, this was released as a triangle single, and this is it. Oh, no. This is this was released January of 1980. I have January 82, but I don't know if that's correct. Yeah, it could be because 81 published. Yeah, January of 82 is when this was released. And it's got a little trifold thing. The promo copies of this record were released on black vinyl. I bought this when it first came out, and then I got rid of it years later. And then several years ago I was able to score another copy. Kind of hard to keep with your other records. I just keep it in with my 10-inch releases. Okay, now we're starting to, I'm going to show some Geffen stuff. And this is from the Trans album. It's a mono version of Little Thing Called Love promo. And there's a stereo mix of it on the other side, and it's from December of 82. There's a Little Thing Called Love stock copy with a picture slave. And We Are in Control, December 82. Neil and the Shocking Pinks, that was when he was doing that sort of 50s rock and roll thing. Cry 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 mono mix promo. And there's a stereo version of it. And this is a remix, promo only remix. I don't think, and the same thing here, I don't think the stock copies were remixes. Here's Neil Young and the Shocking Pinks, Wandering. Paola Blues, July of '83. There's like one US sleeve that I don't have from back in the 80s, and it's the one that came out from the Landing on Water album. It might be Touch the Night. And it has the airplane drawing on it. That one I don't have. I need to get that. Here's Neil Young and Willie Nelson. Are there any more real cowboys? And that's from the Neil Young, I'm sorry, the Willie Nelson, Half Nelson album, which he did duets with a bunch of different people. And that's from 1985, August of '85. And this is a Northern Lights, Tears Are Not Enough. It's like a Canadian only thing that came out in Canada. And Neil sings one line on this single. It's kind of like a We Are the World kind of thing that happened in the US, and it's from 1985. And there's Neil's signature right there. Here's 10 Men Working promo copy. Both sides are stereo from April of '88. Here's a 10 Men Working US Picture Slave. Neil Young and the Blue Notes. April '88, and it's got Ongoing, which is a non-album. This note's for you. Neil Young and the Blue Notes. And this is about the time that Neil started getting good again, you know. He was out doing a solo acoustic thing, and from then on he just started getting better and better and better. He got out of his 80s weird experimental stage that he was doing. June of 1988, and it's got the album version, and then it's got a solo acoustic version. Here's American Dream. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young got back with the other guys again. And this is from October of '88. And then here's another one from that album. And I don't have the record, I just have the sleeve. God, I can't believe that they put the barcode right on the front of the picture sleeve. Atlantic, unbelievable. You guys should be ashamed. January of '89. This Old House, that's a Neil song. Rockin' in the Free World. There's a jukebox strip. And it's got acoustic version and electric version. I believe the B-side, yeah, the B-side's acoustic version, which is non-album. Okay, here's a German 45 from, oh, what was the name of that album? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I haven't studied Neil that much lately. Sorry. But it's the 1990 album, Mansion on the Hill. And on the B-side, it's got Don't Spook the Horse. And with that, which it was released in the US on a CD as a bonus track, but to have it on vinyl, you pretty much got to go to Europe. So this is pretty cool thing to have, and it's 7.5 minute long track, so very cool. And then this is another import for Harvest Moon, beautiful sleeve there. And this one I think is UK. This one, no, this is German too. Both of these are German. That's from 1992. Okay, that does it for my Neil Young singles. And I got a few cover versions that I'll show real quick. The Gentry Cinnamon Girl, March of 1970, and this is on promo blue vinyl, mono and stereo versions. And then this is a reissue of Buddy Miles, Down by the River, from originally released in June of 70, but this is a March of 72 reissue. The New Seekers, Dance, 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 which is a bit of a rarity for Neil Young. And August of 1972 is when that came out. And Nicolette Larson and her big hit, Lot of Love. And Neil did it too, but his wasn't a hit, but hers was. 1978, and I believe he assists her on backing vocals on this record, and it's October of 78. And Light of the Stable, and that has Neil on backing vocals. Emmylou Harris, October 24th, 1984. And Willie Nelson, Heart of Gold. And this is a promo copy, which is cool to have because it doesn't have the barcode. If this was a stock copy, it would have the barcode on the label. So this is a good way to avoid it. Get the promo. February of 87. Okay, that does it for all the 45s that I wanted to show. And I guess this has been running long enough, so I'm going to let you guys go. Hope you enjoyed looking at those.